Welcome back, everybody. I'm very happy to have here with me on this stage the CEO of Ford, Mark Fields. Mark, thanks so much for being here with us
Great
today.
to see you again.
Look, it's been an amazing run for you over the last couple of years since you've taken the top position at Ford. I'm sure you're a busy man. Last week at CES, this week here in Detroit, and some really big announcements too as far as the direction of where Ford is headed in the future. I guess as a tech company as well as an automaker, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. We're really transforming ourselves from an auto company to an auto and a mobility company. And part of it is we love our core business, right? Designing, developing, manufacturing, and marketing terrific cars, SUVs, trucks, and electrified vehicles. And then we see all these emerging opportunities, particularly around mobility services.
Right.
And with the enabling technology available to us, we think that's a natural extension for us, and it's a big opportunity for us.
Right. Now, do you feel like at one point, do we start to diverge from being an automotive company? How far away can we go from being an automotive company and into a tech company?
Well, it is really important we never stray from that core business. And
Right.
to think about it, even in the core business, there's a lot of technology in our core business of designing and developing vehicles. Give you an example, our new F-150 has over 130 million lines of software code in it.
That's insane. Now, we were at a dinner the other night, and I heard you guys talking about this from Raj and a couple of the other guys over there. They mentioned that's more than you have in some airplanes, isn't it?
Yeah, it's more than a Boeing 777.
That's insanity in your truck. That's fantastic. Really, really cool stuff. Automated driving. It's a big focus. A lot of the big guys out there are heading down that path. Mm-hmm. Is that a big focus for Ford?
It is a big focus for us, but we're looking at it more holistically, and we call it our Ford Smart Mobility Strategy. And this is really about looking at consumers and saying, how do they want to live their lives?
Yep.
And that's why we're focusing on connectivity, keeping them connected 24/7. We're focusing on data and analytics to try and anticipate their needs before they can express it. Focusing on the whole customer experience and how technology is changing that, and autonomous vehicles is a piece of that. So we are working very aggressively. We have lots of great semi-autonomous features in our vehicles, features that will help you stay in your lane or help park your car automatically. But we're also working on what we call level 4 autonomy, which is in a predefined area. The driver does not have to be ready to step in and take control.
Okay, so you don't have to be aware at every moment, are you saying? So you don't have to have the hands of the wheel, so you can turn to your friend and have a conversation and let the car take care of itself.
That's what we're working on.
Wow, okay. What sort of hurdles do we have to overcome as far as from a government standpoint? We're obviously legislation, and that's the big discussion right now is how do we get this through? What steps have to be taken at a government level?
Well, working together. And as you know, the hurdles that we face are first there's technological hurdles, but the software technology, the sensor technology, the algorithms are really maturing very, very fast. And as usual, technological advances are ahead of the regulatory and the legal framework.
Yep.
So our approach is to work with the regulators, work with the legal environment, so that we can create a structure and an environment in which these vehicles will be able to come on the road because consumers are going to want them.
Yeah. Is there partnerships as well? I mean, I don't want to say partnerships, but with other automakers that are, for instance, Audi have got a very strong program going on. Is there discussions between, I guess, other automakers as far as working together to try and help these legislations get pushed through?
Oh, of course. So, as an industry, we need to make sure we help craft this because here in the U.S., for example, what we'd like to make sure is that the regulations are at a national level instead of an individual state level because think about all the engineering you'd have to do just to meet 50 individual states.
Yeah.
And also we'd love to have a lot of harmony globally. Right, between Europe and China and the U.S. So we're working within the industry groups and with others to help craft that.
Okay. Do you have a foreseeable timeline as far as when you say like level 4 autonomy? Was that what you were discussing?
Yeah.
When we could see those on the road?
Well, what I said here at last year's show is that we would see a level 4 vehicle within the next 5 years.
Right.
And here we are a year later, so our view is still that we'll see it in the next 4 years by the end of the decade. Somebody in the industry will come out with a level 4 one. It may not be us, we may not be first, but we want to make sure that when we come out, it's true to our brand. And our brand has always been around having technology that's accessible for millions and not just for folks that can buy luxury cars.
Excellent. Well, talking of technology, you've now got a firm footprint in Silicon Valley, which is a big step, I think, for Ford, and you really immersed yourself amongst that pool of talent up there. Is that what was that part of the strategy?
It was a couple-fold. One was go where the talent is.
Yeah.
And lots of talent. We've been able to hire over 100 professionals, everything from data scientists to software engineers to software control engineers to business development folks. So part of it was going to see the talent, but the other part was be part of the community.
Yeah.
Not be viewed as a company that flies in and maybe does a transaction and flies out. And that's helped us build relationships. That's uncovered a lot of ideas, a lot of the experiments we're doing right now, and some of the partnerships we announced last week at CES came out of the fact that we are viewed as part of the community, and our folks are bumping into other folks at the coffee houses, the meetups, and ideas spring from that.
Well, I mean, the Amazon announcement was one of those as well. Could you tell us a little bit more about the Amazon partnership?
Yeah, that's part of our Ford Smart Mobility plan in terms of the customer experience area. And we're seeing a big demand for smart devices in the home.
Yep.
So we're now working with Amazon, and we're working so that you can access from the home to the car their Alexa voice assistant, cloud-based voice assistant. So if you get up in the morning, you can say, Alexa, please start my car because it's 10 degrees out and I want it to be nice and toasty by the time I get in there. Or if you're driving home, you can ask Alexa to open up your garage door, turn your porch light on, access your security system. It's all about empowering customers and giving them some convenience that you could get nowhere else but Ford.
Right. Got you. Let's talk about cars again and autonomy. As far as your performance cars are concerned, like the Mustang and, of course, the big one this year, the GT, which I'm still going to talk to you about getting my hands on one of those. We'll do that off camera. But do they have a place in the autonomous world?
Well, we think they could, but first we have to always go back to the consumer and what they want. And when you look at some of our performance cars, a lot of those folks, they love to drive.
Yep.
And when you think of the landscape going forward, I don't subscribe to the view that 20 years from now the world is going to be populated by these just autonomous roaming vehicles that you'll be able to summon at any beck and time. There are going to be people that are still going to really like to drive.
Yeah.
And when you look at our performance cars, clearly folks like to drive, and we're going to stay very true to that.
Okay. We've actually got some questions through on Twitter, which if you don't mind answering a couple. So through Twitter, James Welling says, when do you foresee somebody doing public unmanned driverless car testing?
Well, it's a great question because everybody's working on that level 4. As I said, I think by the end of the decade, by 2020, there will be a autonomous level 4 vehicle in the marketplace.
Yep.
And so you may see some testing a little bit before then, but the technology is moving, the sensor technology, the software technology is moving very, very fast in this regard.
Okay. This one's from Eric Valentine, and something that I'm quite curious about as well. Do you think autonomous cars will change the current way that we own vehicles as far as car leasing programs or subscription services?
Well, it depends. I think in urban areas, people have told us, listen, they want access more than ownership. Because let's say, if you're living in a major urban area, New York or Sydney or Mumbai, it's expensive. And so we think in those big metropolitan areas, autonomous vehicles may just end up being, transportation as a service on demand.
Yep.
In the rural areas, we think it'll still be a preponderance of the way vehicles have, people have bought and driven vehicles for many, many decades.
Okay, well, we won't take too much more of your time. Any hints at what we're going to see at the Ford press conference today?
Oh, we're going to see a lot of great stuff. We're going to see a lot of great stuff from our core business, great new cars and trucks, and you're going to see a lot on Ford Smart Mobility, which is these emerging opportunities, and us moving from an auto and a mobility company.
Excellent, Mark. Thanks. It's always a
Great
pleasure
to
talking
see
to
you.
you. Exciting times over at Ford.